In a world that never stops spinning, where chaos feels like the only constant, one man discovered a timeless secret to finding peace. This is the story of Marcus, not a Roman emperor, but an ordinary guy who learned to live like one. A story of Stoicism in action. Marcus had always been a dreamer. Growing up in a small apartment in Chicago, he'd imagined a life of adventure, traveling the world, chasing big ideas. But now, at 34, he was stuck. A mid-level data analyst, drowning in spreadsheets, deadlines, and an inbox that never slept. His apartment was a mess, his relationships strained, and his bank account was a constant reminder of bills he couldn't quite keep up with. Life felt like a storm, and Marcus was barely holding on. One rainy evening, after a particularly brutal day at work, his boss had berated him for a missed deadline, and a coworker took credit for his project, Marcus slumped onto his couch, scrolling through his phone. That's when he stumbled across a quote on X. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." It was attributed to Marcus Aurelius, a name he vaguely remembered from high school history. Something about those words hit him. Power over his mind, not events? He'd spent years blaming his boss, his ex, the economy, everything for his stress. Could it really be that simple? Curious, he dug deeper, downloading a free PDF of meditations and watching a YouTube video on Stoicism. What he found wasn't just philosophy, it was a lifeline. Stoicism, Marcus learned, was about focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, while letting go of what you can't. It was about living with virtue, embracing challenges, and finding peace no matter the storm. Marcus decided to try it, not as a scholar, but as a guy desperate for change. His first test came at work. His boss, Karen, was notorious for her temper. When she snapped at him during a team meeting for a minor error, Marcus felt the familiar sting of embarrassment. His old self would have sulked or snapped back. But this time, he paused. He remembered Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Instead of arguing, Marcus nodded, apologized calmly, and offered to fix the mistake. Karen, surprised, softened. Later, she even thanked him for his professionalism. Marcus started small, applying Stoic principles daily. He practiced Amor Fati, loving his fate. When his car broke down, stranding him in the cold, he didn't curse the universe. Instead, he thought, this is a chance to practice patience. He walked to a nearby diner, ordered a coffee, and used the time to read more meditations. The inconvenience became a moment of growth. He also embraced negative visualization, a Stoic technique called premeditatio malorum. Each morning, he'd imagine worst-case scenarios, losing his job, getting sick, failing at a goal. Not to dwell in fear, but to prepare his mind. When his company announced layoffs, Marcus wasn't paralyzed like his coworkers. He'd already visualized it, planned for it. He updated his resume, networked, and told himself, if I lose this job, I'll find another. If I don't, I'll adapt. The layoffs came, but Marcus kept his job. His calm demeanor even earned him a promotion. Stoicism wasn't about suppressing emotions, it was about mastering them. When Marcus's best friend, Jake, moved across the country, he felt the ache of loss. But instead of wallowing, he reflected on Seneca's advice. We must love in such a way that the person we love feels free. Marcus wrote Jake a heartfelt letter, expressing gratitude for their friendship and wishing him well. The pain didn't vanish, but it became bearable, even meaningful. The biggest challenge came when Marcus's mom got sick. A cancer diagnosis shook his world. He wanted to scream, to bargain with fate, but Stoicism taught him to focus on what he could control. He couldn't cure her, but he could be there, fully present. He spent evenings with her, listening to her stories, helping with small tasks. When fear crept in, he'd repeat Aurelius's words, "Do what is necessary and endure what is not." His mom noticed his strength, calling him her rock. When she passed, Marcus grieved deeply, but he also felt gratitude for the time they'd shared. Over time, Marcus's life transformed. He didn't become rich or famous. His apartment was still small, his job still demanding. But he was different. He approached each day with purpose, choosing virtue over anger, gratitude over complaint. When traffic jammed, he listened to a philosophy podcast. When a date ghosted him, he shrugged, knowing his worth didn't depend on others' approval. He even started a small X account, sharing Stoic quotes and his own reflections, inspiring others. One night, Marcus sat on his balcony, the city lights twinkling below. He thought about the Stoics, men and women who faced wars, exile, and death, yet found peace by mastering their minds. He wasn't perfect. Some days he still got frustrated or doubted himself, but he'd learned to return to the Stoic path. As Seneca said, while we are postponing, life speeds by. Marcus wasn't postponing anymore. He was living. Marcus's story isn't about conquering the world, it's about conquering himself. Stoicism showed him that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances, but in a mind trained to face any storm. And that's a lesson for all of us. So, what's your storm, and how will you face it? Marcus didn't change the world, but he changed his world by mastering his mind. Stoicism taught him, and it can teach us, that peace isn't out there, it's within us, waiting to be claimed. So, what's your storm? A tough job, a broken heart, or just the chaos of life? Take one Stoic idea. Maybe it's focusing on what you can control or loving your fate, and try it today. Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how you're facing your storms. If this resonated, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories to inspire your journey. Let's keep growing wiser together.